Is your child a natural-born entertainer? Now is their chance to join the most talented youth dance crew in the Mid-South, the Blue Bunch. The Blue Bunch entertains Grizz Nation with their energetic dance routines and even have the opportunity to collaborate on performances with leading artists in the entertainment industry. Kids ages 7 to 17 are invited to show off their skills and personality for their chance to join the next generation of NBA entertainers. Open auditions are Saturday, June 28th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
With a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by OrthoSouth, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish, speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't call tonight, last night, when the Pacers went down 15 points in Game 1 of the 2025 NBA Finals, or when they were down 9 points with less than 3 minutes to play, because if so, you missed another fabulous Tyrese Haliburton moment. Absolutely incredible. He did it again. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set this today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Jessica Benson is going to join me. She, of course, is the host of the Jessica Benson Show. Weekdays, 8 a.m., Grind City Media. She's here on Fridays in the second segment. Jessica Benson going to join me in about 20 minutes. Finish talking to Jess. We're going to take a break. Come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Kevin Durant and the New York Knicks reportedly had mutual interest in each other at the trade deadline. As you know, it didn't go down, but could something be in the works this offseason? Maybe so. We'll discuss that in about 40 minutes. Memphis and Utah State have agreed to a home-and-home series starting this season at Utah State. I approve of this non-league basketball game set for Valentine's Day 2026. I'll tell you why. We'll do that a little later on in the show. It's now official. Aaron Rodgers has agreed to join the Pittsburgh Steelers. The back pages in New York, they had fun with it. I'll get Bennett's thoughts. We'll do that a little later on in the show. Najee Kennedy, she was huge last night. For Texas Tech, Game 2, Women's College World Series Championship. Red Raiders beat Texas 4-3, so that sets up a decisive Game 3 tonight. The winner will secure a national championship. We'll spend a few minutes on that in the second hour. And Jeff Garlin, you know Jeff Garlin,
yes,
from Curb Your Enthusiasm fame, canceled a stand-up appearance over what seems like should have been a very minor situation. But, like, who am I to say? I'll tell you what happened. Then we'll figure out whether Jeff Garlin's in the right or wrong. We'll do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carry out, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with the 2025 NBA Finals because Game 1 was played last night inside the Paycom Center. Downtown OKC, as I'm sure you know by now. It was awesome. Final score, Pacers 111, Thunder 110, despite closing as a 10-point underdog, and despite trailing by as many as 15 points in the game, and despite being behind by 9 points with just 2:39 remaining in the fourth, the Pacers rallied and won again, similarly to the way they've regularly done throughout this postseason. Again, down 9 with 2:39 remaining. That is supposed to be game over, but it wasn't. And suddenly, the Pacers find themselves down by only a point with 22.1 seconds remaining. So they need a stop and a bucket to escape OKC with a Game 1 victory. Let's watch it together. Mike Breen, it's all yours.
Not an easy spot on the floor to try to inbound it from, Mike.
SGA has it. There's about a 9-second difference shot clock and game clock. Gilgeous-Alexander spins, pulls up, jumper. Off the mark, won't go. Rebound, Neesmith.
You just let him go. Get the ball to Tyrese Haliburton. Let's let it go. We're going to let it play out, Bennett.
Looking. Haliburton driving. Pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Haliburton does it again. Their first lead of the game.
Papa Haliburton.
Back in the building.
Maintained his composure. That's a composed Papa Haliburton.
Look, this is what you want. The MVP with his signature pull-up. Great defense by Indiana. They get the ball.
Yeah, I think he got to go.
He takes his time. He goes. He's not afraid of the moment. He is the moment.
He is the moment.
He is the moment.
He is the moment. Tyrese Haliburton is the moment. Big Ben Bennett, your thoughts, obviously, with the way it played out, you want to let it play out that way, but there was some question in the moment. Do you call a timeout and set up something? Rick Carlisle decides, once we get the ball to Haliburton in space, we're going to let him go. He gets to his spot. Even though he has one of the greatest perimeter defenders in the world on him, he still gets to his spot, pulls up, takes the shot with confidence, makes it. Yes, OKC still had a little time on the clock, but not enough to get anything good. So the Pacers win it, despite being a 10-point underdog, despite being down 15, despite being down 9 with less than 3 to play. The Pacers win it thanks to a Tyrese Haliburton just inside the 3-point line, pull-up jumper. Big Bet Bennett, I know you were watching it. Your thoughts?
I know Adam Silver's happy. That dude, I mean, listen, they were still, what were they, down 20 at one point?
Down 15.
Down 15, yeah.
They went down as many as 15 and down 9 with 2:39 to play.
Like, I still, first off, he is just on an insane run.
Insane.
Like, it's
insane.
pretty
All-time.
crazy. Yeah,
All-time.
it's an all-time
And I'll give you some numbers in a minute, but this is all-time stuff.
Yeah, it's an all-time playoff run. It obviously makes this series way more exciting because, again, for most of that game, it's just like, okay, like, you know, OKC's going to win this one. We'll see what happens in game 2. But, like, Pacers are already going to start this series in a hole. And, like, we all kind of assume, what was Oklahoma City minus 750 or something like that?
Yes.
To win the series. So it's playing out exactly like you kind of assumed it might play out until it didn't. Just like that Knicks series, like, and now it's wide open. I mean, I still think the Thunder probably win the series, like, if I had to guess right now, but it's wide open now, and I am all in, buddy.
I'm all in.
I'm all in. Like, it is that game last night got me so fired up for this, and I think it did for a lot of other people too.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm Thunder up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
As you know, I'm Thunder up for life. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm Thunder up for life. But even I was like, dude,
crazy.
That was awesome.
And the thing is like, when SGA missed that, it was like oh,
Here
they were going down the court. It was like, oh, Haliburton's about to do this. Like, you knew it was coming. You could see it coming from a mile away.
They're comfortable in these spots.
Yeah.
He's comfortable in these spots, and they did, once again, what they've been doing throughout this postseason. I'll give you some team numbers in a minute. Let's focus on Haliburton for now. In this postseason, Tyrese Haliburton is now 4 for 4 when attempting a game-tying or go-ahead shot in the final 5 seconds of regulation or overtime. 4 for 4. All right, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
The rest of the NBA, all the other players in the NBA in this postseason, in those situations, are 3 of 16. The rest of the NBA, 3 of 16 on those shots in this postseason. Tyrese Haliburton is 4 of 4. Awesome. And the Pacers are now 7-2 on the road this postseason. They're 3-0 in game ones on the road. They won game 1 in Cleveland. They won game 1 in New York. They just won game 1 in Oklahoma City. And they have now, the Pacers, come back from down 15 or more 5 times in this postseason. And that is the most such comebacks in a single postseason in what is regularly referred to as the play-by-play era of the NBA, which dates all the way back to 1997. Nobody, quite literally nobody, has ever done what we're watching the Pacers do. And there is a lot of stuff that Tyrese Haliburton is doing that is either very rare or actually unprecedented. From a team perspective, going down 15 again on the road to the best team in the world, the best defensive team in the world. How do you explain what they're doing?
Dude, Ramona Shelburne had a good article today just talking about like his kind of comeback because you remember he was on his ascension a couple seasons ago, and then he had the injury, and then last year they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he's kind of made this like mini comeback, right? And now he's just like, without question, a star in the league. Like that's not even debatable.
Like
anymore.
I'm done with that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, is he really a star? Like my wife knows who he is. All right. That's where we're at. You cannot follow sports in this country even a little bit right now, without being aware of Tyrese Haliburton.
Right.
That star stuff. Like you guys can debate it over here if you want to. I'm uninterested in it. My kids are out in the front yard trying to do Haliburton shots. My wife is familiar with Tyrese Haliburton.
Yep.
When we reach a point where my kids are impersonating you and my wife is aware of you and you play in Indianapolis, Indiana, you're a superstar.
But like he's been doing that kind of stuff all season. I mean, she said in that story he's 13 of 15 this season on game-tying or game-winning shots within the final 2 minutes of a game. 13 of 15. That's pretty insane, dude. We talked about how they had a great second half of the season, but he's just on this wild run. I think doesn't help. You mentioned the superstar thing. He's got the backing of Caitlin Clark. That helps a little bit. He debuted the sneakers last night. Like, it's just there's all kinds of good stuff attached to this.
He's doing it. And what's interesting about him, a lot of stuff interesting about him, but among the things is he has this incredible swagger on the court, and we'll talk to you about it and show it to you and choke sign you, all that stuff. But then he sits down to talk to Lisa Salters or Scott Van Pelt, and he just almost changes demeanor. He's very calm. He's very respectful. He seems reasonable. You can talk to him. You can even ask him real questions, tough questions, and he'll acknowledge they're coming from a good place or they're fair. Like Scott Van Pelt last night in the post-game stuff was like, hey, as you know, I was late to the party on this. He's like, yeah, you were. But I understand, we were late to the party too. We didn't start playing too well till around January. He feels like somebody you could talk to, And he's just doing it. He's just absolutely doing it. And from a team perspective, they're doing it. And I don't subscribe to this at all. It sounds silly to me because just logically it doesn't make any sense. But this is a real story Brian Windhorst told last night post-game. He said he was talking to a Pacers staffer. He wasn't specific. But a Pacers staffer pregame. And it's one of those things like, so how you feel about tonight? What do you think? And, sort of off the record. But they're like, hey, listen. We know we're double-digit underdogs. We know they're great. Obviously concerned with them turning us over. And, buddy, they turned them over a lot in the first half. But uncharacteristically, OKC did not get points off these turnovers. Like the Pacers were turning it over and recovering. as opposed to turning it over and giving up dunks and layups. And so that was quite literally the way they were able to stay in the game, to the extent that they stayed in the game. Like going down 15 could have been 23 if OKC's just getting out and scoring off these turnovers the way they normally do, but they weren't able to do it. So it was a tighter game at the half than it should have been, tighter game throughout than it should have been. But the Stafford tells Windhorst, like, listen, we're concerned about all the stuff you would think we'd be concerned about. But if we can get it to the fourth quarter, and I don't even mean get it to the fourth quarter and we're up. I mean just stay in the game. Just stay in the game. We're down 6 with 5 to go. We're down 8 with 4 to go. They were actually down 9 with less than 3 to go. I bet that wasn't the plan. But it was like, just keep us in the game. And I don't care if we're down 2 possessions, 3 possessions, final few minutes. We are comfortable in that, and I don't think they are. We're comfortable in that, and I don't think they are. They are so used to beating people by 20, 30, 40, 50. They are so used to being up 16 late that if we can make it a game that is more suited for what we're used to than what they're used to, we don't have many advantages in this building on this night, but we might have an advantage in that situation. 3 minutes to go. This game is still up for grabs. How you feel about it? We feel fine. We've done this before. We won game 1 in Cleveland. We won game 1 in New York. We've been down 15 4 other times in these playoffs. We're comfortable with this. That scoreboard doesn't bother us at all. We play until the end, and it tends to work out for us. How you feel right now? How you feel? You were up 15. Now it's down to 9. How you feel right now? Get us to that moment, and that's where we'll have the advantage. Now, I don't think that's a good strategy going into a game to try to be down in the fourth. I always want to be up in the fourth. But it is undeniable that some semblance of that was evident in the final minutes. And it's almost like they lull you to sleep and then get you when you think this was over. And they've done it multiple times. And this is not a normal or, I think, smart strategy. I don't even think it's an actual strategy. I don't think they're trying to get down 9 points in the fourth with less than 3 to play so they can storm back. That's silly. There are sports where lulling people, I can't say the word. Lulling, why can't I speak?
Yeah, that's weird. Lulling.
Thank you. There are words like that. Lulling. I can't say growing. I can't say that word. Like a growing injury.
What are you saying, growing? Like growing up?
I get caught up in these words. That might surprise you as a professional speaker.
Yeah.
But there's little words I get caught up on. So like in boxing, rope-a-dope, that might be a strategy.
Yeah, I got you.
All right? We're going to play from behind, let them tire themselves out, and then we'll boom. Then we'll jump on them. Like famously, that's Muhammad Ali. On a lesser note, it's Floyd Mayweather against Conor McGregor. If you go back and watch that, he just let him swing, never touch him, tire out. I can take him out at any point. I'll take him out now. All right? I gather in horse racing. I don't follow horse racing, but I gather in horse racing there is a strategy to just hang back, go. Like that's a strategy in horse racing. You might not. I'm not a jockey, even though I'm the same size as some. But there is a strategy in horse racing where it's like you don't want to lead from start to finish. A basketball game, I'd love to lead from start to finish. A baseball game, I'd love to lead from start to finish. NFL game, I'd love to lead from start to finish. In boxing, maybe not necessary. Horse racing, maybe not necessary. And somehow the Pacers have taken that strategy, the rope-a-dope strategy, and implemented it. Do you remember the night Aaron Nesmith went nuts, hit all those threes in the fourth? What did I tell you? You could actually find the clip from the Grind City Media Camp. I said, I'm just sitting there. I'm just assuming the game's over. I've got my computer open, and I'm just like working on tomorrow morning's show. This game is over. I've been watching every bounce, but now it's over. And then I hear, don't see because I'm not watching. Aaron Nesmith for 3. Okay. That's neat. Nesmith with another 3. Okay. This game's still over. It's Nesmith again. All right, now I need to look at this because I guess they're doing it. I guess they're back in it.
Yep.
And then, boom, they win the game. Last night was the exact same thing. I mean, it might have been Nembhard instead of Nesmith making shot after, but you get the point. It was the same thing playing out. the game's over. I'm just going to let it play out, work on the show, and watch the postgame. The game's over. And I'm really just looking at the computer more than the television, typing more than watching, and then I hear it. Mike Breen. And here's a bucket, and now it's down to 6, and now it's down to 3, and it's a one-possession game, and now they need a stop. The MVP, pull up. No, Pacers going the other way with a chance to – here we go again. Mm-hmm. What? And then he just delivers. He just delivers.
Yeah, I mean, they're just – the way that they shoot from 3, like they're always going to be able to be back. It kind of reminds you of like the Warriors back in the day. Like they're always going to be able to get back into games. Well, or at least – they can close a gap quicker than most teams. Like everyone on their team last night outside of Benedict Mathurin hit a 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, like the Morris twins are now on ESPN often. And all due respect, they got a ways to go before they get comfortable in that setting. But I enjoy listening to people who are on the court with these teams. Like that's just a perspective I can't provide. I've never been on a court with the Pacers, but these guys have. And I guess it was Markieff Morris was like, they're very difficult to guard because everybody on the court can shoot. And that is why Oklahoma City made a lineup change even before game 1.
Yeah.
It's because you can't play 2 bigs against them. They'll just spread you out and bury you. So they tried to go small, but then that cost Oklahoma City something in the front court. But either way, like this thing that wasn't talked about big picture in the NBA throughout the season because we're too focused on the Lakers and Luka and whether Kevin Durant's going to get traded and all the stuff we typically care about in the NBA. Like it is one of the weird, unusual things about the NBA is like we don't talk about the basketball a lot. And I don't mean you and I mean like on television. They don't talk about the basketball a lot. They talk about, would this guy be a good fit in this place if they made a trade? And it's a lot of those. And we have those conversations too, and we'll have one in a minute. But they don't talk a lot about the basketball. But we have now reached the point where there's so much time to fill, and there's only one game. And you got to talk about it for an hour this morning. And so they're talking about the basketball. And what you're starting to hear basketball people say when they talk about the basketball is that the Pacers might have been off your radar, but if you were really watching or if you've been on the court with them, they can be very difficult to deal with. Not from the beginning of the season all the way through, but they got to a point where they were obviously very difficult to deal with. And now they're playing with a lot of confidence. They've got a superstar delivering in ways that even traditional superstars that we wouldn't even debate whether they deserve that label or not, don't deliver like this. I mean, you think they do. Your memories are that Michael Jordan never missed a shot at the buzzer, but he did. Your memories are like Kobe would never miss this shot, but he did. Haliburton's not missing these shots. He's making them without exception. Unbelievable stuff. Jessica Benson in studio next.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Are you ready? Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment. And they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up at Open Call Auditions Saturday, July 26th at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
1, 2, 3.
Ready, go.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by OrthoSouth. Had my third physical therapy treatment yesterday at OrthoSouth.
How was it?
Wonderful. I'm getting better.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
I'm making incredible progress.
I'm doing at-home physical therapy on my neck.
Why I
don't know.
Why do you need neck
I woke up and I had a crink in my neck.
Oh. Hey, by the way, that's Jessica Benson. She's the host of the Jessica Benson Show with C.J. Hurt.
Sorry
Weekdays,
to hijack your show.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't want it any other way. Weekdays, 8 a.m., Grind City Media. I got a lot of stuff I need to talk to you about.
I'm ready.
Hey, shouts to OrthoSouth. Physical therapy is going well. I'm enjoying it. The people are great. I'm having a great time.
Isn't it wonderful to have a body that moves? Like, you just become so grateful to be able to move again.
You know what? I am very aware, perhaps for the first time in my life, of how fortunate I am to just be able to do pretty much everything I want to do, because I know it will not forever be that way, but it is right now, and so I should keep a smile on my face.
Yeah. I try, genuinely, I'm not trying to be cutesy on it. When I'm out on a walk or something, I take a moment, and I'm like, wow, you're so lucky right now to be able to just have two legs that function and you're able to do whatever you want. I try very hard to take that in and treat it as a win.
I'm not trying to be hokey. I have these thoughts now that I didn't used to have. Like, I am lucky that I am employed. I am lucky that I can move around the way I want to. I am lucky that I have a healthy wife and healthy children. I didn't used to, just sort of, I think when you're younger,
it just happens.
You're just like, hey, of course I have a healthy wife and healthy children. But then you have friends who don't have a healthy wife. And then you have friends who don't have healthy children. And then you have friends whose maybe bodies don't work the way they used to. And you go, I am lucky. Yeah, that's not lost on me.
No.
All right, let's not cry. Let's get back to basketball. And I want to talk to you about basketball. But first I want to talk to you about local news.
Oh God, my favorite subject.
Oh boy.
You used to work in local news.
I did.
You want to identify your former employer?
I used to work I came to Memphis working for Local 24. I believe they're now ABC 24. If you were watching the NBA Finals last night on ABC, it's that station.
Okay, good. Because that's the one I was watching last night.
It's that station.
I say this as respectfully as I can say it. And just know that almost any time I use that phrase to set up something, I'm about to get real disrespectful.
Yeah.
This was bananas, what they did last night. Absolutely bananas. And if your former friends still work there, I apologize. There's nothing personal about this. I'm sure everybody has hard jobs, and perhaps I don't understand.
Did you know this is the honest truth? There's not a single person on air who works at Local 24 today
that worked there when you were there?
Who worked there when I was there.
Is that a sign of the times?
Yes. Yeah.
I will say this, and I don't even mean this anyway.
And that's not a Local 24 specific problem. My point is the industry is driving people out in droves, and turnover is crazier than it's ever been.
I will say this. When I was a kid, or even a young adult, it was impossible not to know who Jarvis Greer was.
Yes.
Like Grizzlies Thunder, I took Oliver, and we saw Jarvis in the, walking around FedEx Forum, and I stopped. Just because it's Jarvis, I want to say hello, but I wanted to introduce my son to Jarvis Greer.
Yeah.
I wanted my son to. Did my son know who Jarvis Greer was?
No. But you did, and he meant something to you, and
he's
a legend of the community.
I used all those words.
Right.
I said, Oliver, this is Jarvis Greer. This is a legend in this community. This is a man who's been on TV my whole life, and also the best of us. Like, this is everything you want somebody to be in this profession.
Yeah.
Like, this is the guy. And I just don't know if that's true anymore. Like, do my kids know anybody who works in local news?
No, because your kids aren't watching local news because you're, for the most part, not watching local news. And you're not even accidentally watching local news because you have a situation like last night where the game ends where you would naturally be inclined to maybe keep the show on if it drew you in. And they lead with a story about Smog.
Right. Okay. So
sorry to beat the punchline, but
this is all interesting. But you're right. My kids would not know anybody who works in local news. And here's the truth, and I don't say this because I'd roll my. I'm hesitant to say it, but I'm just speaking honestly.
Okay.
If I saw some local news person being like, I would never turn on Grind City Media, I don't watch it at all, I'd be like, all right, who cares? Shut up. Mm-hmm. And so I don't mean for this to come across that way.
Yes.
But it's like I don't watch the local news just because. I think the main reason people watch local news is because of whatever leads into it.
Yes.
And there's never anything.
Your kids would have a better chance if we do it in this way of knowing someone from at least a local sports perspective, because at least sports lives online. Mm-hmm. And I think there's been great adaptation by the sports reporters and anchors in this city and elsewhere who understand, like, if I want to have meaning in this market, in my profession, I have to take things online. Like, even when I started, you know, for people who don't understand, like, there is a rating system that tells you which stations are viewed more than others. And when I cannot speak for the ratings today, but when I was at Local 24, we were always a pretty distant fourth. And so when I came here, I was like, well, shoot, no one's ever going to know who I would be shocked. My husband worked for WMC Action News 5. Okay. He would get recognized as a reporter. I was a weekend sports anchor.
Nothing.
I probably got recognized like
a few times.
Less than 10 before I really shifted my awareness to building a community online and trying to do anything that was different. But yeah, these days there's one, not as much of a reason to watch local news, which I hate because I think I want to be crystal clear. Local news is incredibly important.
Sure.
Especially long-form journalism and really trying to hold powerful people accountable in cities, big, medium, small, like that goes away. We see it in papers, we see it on radio, we see it in television. It's affecting every medium. But then they don't help themselves at times either. Staffs have never been more bare boned.
Right.
The turnover has never been greater. There's no connectivity because people don't stay long enough because you're not paying people. Sorry, I could go on and on about this all day. There's a lot of pieces to this.
This is something that I believe has changed dramatically in my adult life.
Yes.
There was a time where if you were the local sports person, like Mike Sadie.
Yes.
Okay, it's impossible not to know Mike Sadie. You ready for this? When I first, this is a funny story. I've told Mike this story. When I first started dating my wife.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure I got the story right. My wife told her grandmother that she was going on a date or hanging out with whatever, the local sports guy. And her grandmother thought it was Mike Sadie. Her grandmother thought she was dating Mike Sadie because that's the only local sports.
Because she watched
Channel 3.
Channel 3. So that was her local sports guy.
So
and that used to be a thing.
That
like
used
you
to be a
had
thing,
your
and
person.
I feel like it's less of a thing now.
Yes.
Okay.
When I graduated from college, and I got a degree in broadcast and digital journalism, and they had just added the digital. I think I was the first class that had either you graduated in broadcast and digital or print and digital, but we were the first of the digitals. The assumption was you were going to start your career in local news, and some people would eventually make a jump to national news, but some people would stay in local forever, not because it was some sort of like banishment. It was the dream.
Of course.
It was the dream to get to either one of the top 15 markets in the country or your home market and become
Jarvis
a face
Greer.
of the community, become Jarvis Greer and work there forever and eventually make a decent salary.
I don't think you can become Jarvis Greer today.
That's my hot take.
Right.
I don't think it's that hot. I don't think we will ever create news personalities in that way again. And it starts with the pay, and it gets escalated by the amount of work that is being dumped on people. There are stations in this country who have recently made the decision to no longer have just anchors. Like, you now will have to be an anchor, a reporter, an MMJ, which is a multimedia journalist. So you're shooting, editing, writing your own stuff, and then you're going to be out in the field, and they're just going to bop around to all the different MMJs, and there won't be an anchor at a desk to make the funny jokes, to make the connection with the audience, to gain the trust is really what it comes down to. you lose relationships.
Yes.
Like, I know they're parasocial in a way, but they're less parasocial than, say, getting to be overly familiarized with an influencer, because you're never going to meet that person. But Joe Birch, you'd run into at the grocery store, and guess what? He's the nicest guy in the world. He's going to say hi to you and make you feel like, even though you've seen him 100 million times and he's only seen you once, he'll make you feel like you guys have been friends forever.
I don't think we can have another Joe Birch.
I don't think so.
I think Joe Birch and Jarvis and the Mike Sadies, I think they're the last of a. My
dream was to work for, like, if I didn't make ESP, if I wasn't the Sports Center anchor, and that's a dream that's died too, because that's changed so much.
That didn't even mean what it used to mean.
That was my ultimate goal. Right. But if it wasn't that, it was, God, I hope that I can work for King 5 in Seattle, or I hope that I can work for KUSA in Denver. Like, those were real meaty storytelling markets with great sports departments. And I don't even know if their sports departments will ultimately exist in 20 years. Like I was telling you off air, the Fox affiliate in Houston, which is an O&O, meaning owned and operated, so they're not owned by one of these conglomerates like a Tegna or a Sinclair or a Nexstar. They are owned by their own station and affiliate. They out of nowhere just cut their entire sports department. Yeah. Guy posted about it yesterday, had no heads up, he's out of a job. Houston, top 5 television market in the country. Just, he's someone, I don't know him, I don't know his life, I don't even know his name. What if he loved Houston and he was going to stay there forever? And he was going to be Jarvis Greer. You just cut the department.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, I know how we got to this.
I'm glad we talked about all of that.
Yeah.
That was not my point.
Yes.
My point was, I don't see local news too often anymore. I don't mean this as I'm too good for local news, or local news isn't good enough for me, or it's all stupid. I don't mean any of that. I just mean, like, candidly, I don't see it that often.
Yes.
For whatever reason. Maybe it's on me. I just don't see it that often. But I saw it last night.
Yes.
Because I'm watching the thing that leads right into the thing. And by the way, it shouldn't lead right into the thing, but that's another story that's more complicated than we can get into. But we had this amazing basketball game, this amazing moment, this moment that people will remember and talk about forever. The Haliburton shot in Game 1 of the 2025 NBA Finals will be a thing forever.
Yes.
We go straight from that to Local 24 News, and I'm like, okay, let's go. And it's like, and we have a smog problem in Memphis. I'm like, what on earth are we doing? What, like, how do you go from that to commercial, we have a smog problem in Memphis? First off,
I have never.
Who gives a shit if we have a smog problem in Memphis, given all the other issues we have in Memphis?
I know.
Can you imagine?
No.
Like, your house is on fire and your pipes are busted, and somebody says, it looks like your driveway's cracked over here. Like, buddy, that is not our problem, all right? So, first off, going from the Haliburton shot to a just local news depressing story is like just bad vibes, period. Weird. And then, like, you're going to have the biggest audience you've had in months to last night. Just guaranteed, because you are following Game 1 of the NBA Finals. That you will have more viewers than any other local news and more viewers than you've had in months. Who green lights a smog story for the A block?
And this is another representation of how things have changed. Even in the short time I left in 2020, so 5 years ago. And I can speak for this specific station, even though all management is different, all the people, all the players are different, but the same station, same scenario. This is supposed to be, this and the Oscars are your biggest. We would have meetings that could have been emails, meetings that I was frustrated about as the weekend sports anchor when it would be a weekend finals game. And it was like, Jess, we need you with an A block hit. And I'm like, that seems a little excessive, but you know what? I get it, because it does feel weird when there's that kind of energy and that kind of moment going into a smog story. And so it was always a matter of, okay, let's put our best reporter of the day on some sports adjacent story. Is there anything going on with the Grizzlies? Is there anything going on with the Tigers? Is there anything going on with a cool local young athlete who's an up and comer who's going to do something? Anything. And like the same thing went for the Oscars. Is there anybody in the film community, in the arts community? Is there some tie that just keeps the audience? But these were genuine conversations. Yes, or seem to be basic stuff. And I think, any station that has the Super Bowl is having that kind of a conversation, or at least used to have those conversations.
That's another time where I see local news.
Coming out of the NCAA tournament or any games once you're eventually
the Grammys,
on.
any of these.
Anything has, at least in the past, respected its viewers enough to say, hey, I know the basic demographic that's going to be watching this game and their basic interest of having just watched a game. Sure, you have your normal audience too, so there has to be a collaboration here where you're respecting those true bluers who are still turning on the local news without having just watched the NBA game. But if you want to win over any new person,
that's right.
You failed. Like, it's that simple. And there are a lot of good people who work at every single station in this market, but we have got to figure out a way to change, or I guess rediscover, how to do local news, or it will be gone even sooner than I could anticipate. And again, it's a critical piece of a functioning community.
I'm not joking, but I also don't mean this sincerely. Like, I don't want anybody to lose their job. Life's hard enough. But if I were running that place, I would walk in this morning and I would say, who made the decision to lead with a Smog story?
Yeah.
After game one of the NBA Finals, who made the decision, and then who didn't stand up and say this is a bad idea? Because none of you are allowed to make decisions anymore. Like, if you think that was a good decision, you have just shown me you don't know how to do this job. I mean, that's it. I'm not mad at you. I mean, I am. I'm frustrated because this is just. I should be able to trust you. Like, I get frustrated in my own life sometimes where it's like, okay, I'm just going to leave this up to you.
Yeah.
Like, it could be work stuff or whatever stuff. And then it doesn't go the way it should go. And I'm like, well, why didn't this, what?
Yeah.
This should have been handled the way it should. Why didn't this get handled the right way? And last night it would be, I guess I could sit in on, if I ran the place, I guess I can sit in on every meeting and make every decision. But, like, I should be able to trust you are better than this. I should be able to trust you know how to handle this situation.
You shouldn't have to have the meeting. But again, okay, so
it's not even a thing where I watched the story and I was like, this is a bad story.
No, it was a fun story.
I heard them say, there's a smog problem in Memphis. And I went, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I cannot believe somebody decided to leave the A block after the game. Because you ready for this? It would have been weird, like a weird shift from Haliburton to local news if they would have done this, and there was a triple homicide in wherever.
Right.
But I would have
if there was a true A block leader, I'm never saying, and that was always a part of the conversation.
I'm telling you, there is nobody walking around yesterday talking about the smog problem in Memphis. All right? Yeah. No real person is walking around talking about the smog problem in Memphis. They talk about the gun problem in Memphis, the crime problem in Memphis. Right. We got a church that got burned down. We'll talk about that stuff. Yeah. Carjackings, we'll talk about that stuff. Car thefts, we'll talk about that stuff. Who is talking about a smog problem?
I know.
Did you wake up yesterday and be like, the thing that really concerns me about Memphis going forward is the smog problem? No. Hooters downtown closed yesterday, and we're talking about smog?
R.I.P. Hooters.
You know what I'm saying?
It's been there since the 90s.
I know. I've been there since the 90s.
Sorry, I'm but a baby in the Memphis community, but it's been there through and through.
I just thought it was, I use this word, I thought it was stupid. I thought it was really stupid.
I think it's crazy that, like, this was a conversation in our household last night, and the fact that you would notice it. We are people who view local news through such a, probably like hypercritical place, just because Chris and I both wanted to work in local news forever. Like, not, if it worked out that way.
Sure.
Like, there was genuine desire. Our perfect world was like, hey, how cool would it be if I was the Monday through Friday sports anchor and you were the evening anchor, and we got to sit at the desk and, like, do this thing together for the rest of our lives. And it just makes us really sad. Like, I graduated from USC in 2014, and in my graduating class, 2 people within the last week, 2 of my, like, top classmates announced that they were leaving the industry. And that, falls in line with a dozen others who over the past 3 to 5 years have announced that they're leaving the industry. And that just makes me sad. And that goes into even having someone make a decision like last night to run a smog a smog story. It comes down to people are being asked to make decisions really early in their career. I was being asked to make those kind of decisions in the Tri-Cities, Washington, where nobody cared.
Right.
Where I was covering the Tri-City Americans, the Western Hockey League, and the Mid-Columbia Conference of high school sports in Kennewick, Richland, and Pasco. And when I would make a mistake coming out of an NBA, it was an NBC affiliate, so coming out of a football game on a Sunday night, I had a really kind news director who would sit me down and be like, hey, this is how you could make a better choice. Or to our producer, hey, this is how you can make a better choice. Now you have really young people making these decisions. And so I don't always fault them. I feel bad for them because there's not the environment to foster how we grew up, how you grew up with local news, how I grew up with local news.
Yeah,
so,
like I don't run into this too often professionally because like I plan everything I do.
Yeah.
It's up to me. But I recognize that is not the way all these shows work, and it's not the way like often other people plan shows for the host.
Yeah.
Like when I would guest host CBS Sports radio shows, they would plan that for me a lot.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, because they want you talking about NFL, like in the A block, and that's not.
And you have no choice.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a little like, here's the show. Now you figure out how you want to.
But they know that's the most popular. Again, those are people making decisions who understand analytically why that would be beneficial to talk about.
But every once in a while, like if I wanted to, I could throw it to somebody and be like, hey, if you're in charge today, I'm busy. What do you think the A block of the Island College Basketball Podcast should be? And if they came up with something that is the equivalent of a Smog story, I would immediately know I can't ever ask them that question again because they have no sense for what works and what doesn't. Yeah. A big part of all this stuff is just knowing what to do and then figuring out how to do it well. But the first part is knowing what to do. And that was just bananas.
And they have a great sports person on their staff, Avery Braxton. He does a tremendous job. But he's a party of one right now, and I don't even know what he had to do yesterday in his sports world.
You know what? I'm happy to let him make the decision going forward. All right?
Hey, quick note.
Somebody else can make the decision going forward. Because
it's like an episode of The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder. Just have to be in a position comfortable enough to raise the concern, you know?
None of this is as big of a deal as we've made it out to be.
No, it's not.
But I was irritated by it last night. When it went straight from that to that.
Yeah.
I went.
It's just such a big opportunity. As someone who used to live in it, I'm like, oh, well, you're going to make someone like Gary mad.
Well, we have moments like this, like when I'm in studio for CBS Sports Network. You know your audience is different if you're coming off of the Fresno State, Wyoming game.
Let's make it local. Imagine if we came out of a big Grizzlies game and the next morning I was like, or here's a joke. You want to know what I'm really going to be watching on Sunday? The Tony Awards. Like I cannot freaking wait for the Tony Awards.
Okay.
On Monday morning, it would be like if I came onto my show.
You cannot open your show in the Tony Awards.
And I led with the Tonys when Game 2 just happened the night before.
Exactly
like I will have to go back and
rewatch
watch Game 2, or watch it at the same time, and then catch up on the details in the morning.
That is exactly right. There are things that I care about more all the time than what I am talking about in the A block of a show. But I know this ain't for me.
Yes.
I got to include other people.
And this is for the masses.
There's things you got to hit on.
I could go on and on about who ends up winning that Best Actress award, but we will be talking about if the Pacers somehow inexplicably went up 2-0, or if the Thunder even the series.
The A block on Monday is Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Regardless of what happens, and then regardless of how much you care.
The only way I get to the Tonys is if I bring it up with you because I forced you to go see one of the shows.
There you go. So, we understand.
Anyway. Anywho.
Let me ask you this. I thought this was an interesting point. The Thunder, as a heavy favorite, best team in the world, all that stuff, made a lineup change pregame. They got small.
Yeah.
And even if it makes the most basketball sense in the world, because I think most basketball people would tell you it makes perfect.
If you listened to every preview of the series, there was some pondering.
Yes, about should they do this?
Should they go small?
Get small, because if you don't, like trying to guard those guys with two bigs is difficult. Very difficult. So this is one of those things where on paper, in a coach's office, it makes complete sense. From a basketball instructional video thing, it makes perfect sense. But I heard, I think Richard Jefferson make this point, and then Markieff Morris co-signed it this morning. He said, I don't like the idea that we are the best team in the world and we are favored big time and we have been destroying basically everybody, and now we're tinkering with stuff before we even get started in this. Because what they both suggested was, what that tells the Pacers is that, okay, they're thinking about us a little bit.
You think you can make this a project.
Or just that there's something we're doing that they are concerned about. And they walk around like they ain't concerned about nothing.
Yeah.
Like they're beating everybody by 13 points or 30. They're winning 60, all the games. They act like they're not concerned about anything. But they're clearly concerned with something we're doing because they're messing with stuff. Okay, that's interesting. Both of these former NBA players, or I guess one current, one former, said, if I'm a player in Oklahoma City's locker room, that bothers me because it sends a message of what we've been doing has worked. Why are we getting away from it? And it sends a message to the other locker room. They're more concerned with us than they're letting on.
Yeah.
Marquise said, listen, let's play a quarter. Let's play a half. Let's play a game. And then make those adjustments. But to make them before we even get started sends some not great messages to both sides. What do you think? You make anything of that?
Yeah, and I even, as it was happening, you're like, you're going to waste this on game one?
Yeah.
Like even, so best case scenario, it works to a level that the Thunder win by 30.
Mm-hmm.
You've wasted. Like the Pacers, coached by Rick Carlisle, if the Pacers have one obvious, potentially obvious advantage in this series, it is Rick Carlisle.
Sure.
And I say obvious because he's been to a finals.
Like, that's just because he is also, even before he won a championship, in that league, universally respected as one of the best coaches. People would always throw out Pop. People would always throw out Spo. If you talk to people who work in that league, they would always throw Carlisle in there right with them.
He is 65 years old and has had a plethora of experience. Mark Dagnall's 40.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. And so if there is that advantage, why you would show your cards like that right out the gate when that's already been something that, basketball analysts have suggested, hey, this is something they might do. Okay, cool. Do it in the middle of it.
Right.
Why put this almost bat signal out from the jump?
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it was such a like, hey guys, look what we're doing right here because this is how we feel about you and this is how we feel we can beat you. And I don't know, it just felt like an interesting strategy sense. Obviously, they did it for a reason. Obviously, it also worked in the sense of they had 20 forced turnovers in the first half of that game. Because on the flip side of that, OKC did play a great game. They didn't make their shots, and you look back on the points off turnovers in the first half, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, man, if only they could have scored more off of those turnovers, they'd be up 20 plus at this point. But there's also the factor that this Pacers team is not real. Like that MFer isn't real. On the plane, that's what the woman was talking about all along. It's the Pacers. They don't make sense when it comes to how...
Like, this does not make sense.
You can rationalize it. You can go through like, oh, yes, well, Tyrese Haliburton has been incredibly clutch, and Nembhard's making threes, and Nesmith's making threes, and Miles Turner's banking in a three. But in its totality, teams are not supposed to... The reason we haven't seen teams come back down, what was it? No team has come back down 9 in the last... It
was literally
2 minutes
0
of the
and
game.
182.
Yes. So the Pacers are weird.
Yes.
So they kind of defy anything you're doing anyway. So it makes it difficult to actually get into the weeds of, well, did this work or did this not work? Sometimes it just feels as if this Pacers team, I hate saying a team of destiny because that's not real.
No.
But you get to a point with this team that you can't help but make a joke of it.
They did things last night that's never been done in the history of the NBA playoffs, in the play-by-play era.
Yes.
And they have done things throughout this postseason that have never been done in the history of the NBA playoffs. This is unprecedented stuff we're watching and just a blast. Before I get you out of here, take Local 24, set them over here.
Okay.
What did you make of the presentation of Game 1 of the NBA Finals? Because
that's not local news' fault. This isn't everybody's fault.
This isn't because there was a lot of chatter.
This isn't everybody's fault.
Online last night about this looks just like any other game we would watch, and it shouldn't. And I think that's true.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's just online chatter. I think it's a genuine...
When you turn on the Super Bowl, you know this ain't just a normal football game.
Right.
This is the Super Bowl, and it looks and feels different. The lineup introductions is different. Everything, the national anthem, you see it. All the songs, you see all of it. It feels that you know you're watching something big. The World Series. Before Game 1 of the World Series, it's like, it just...
feels different.
We don't just throw a graphic up and say, and Shohei Ohtani's leading off. You watch Shohei Ohtani walk out of the dugout and be introduced to the crowd, and you get this...
I feel like you have special guests.
Just everything feels
and not just
different.
Shaq, like, leaning in, saying, hey, I'm here.
Last night felt like a Saturday night primetime ABC game. The court... They do more to make the play-in tournament courts distinguish between regular season courts than they do for the NBA Finals. Yes. People want the trophy at midcourt, on the court. It's not there anymore. It once was. There's a great image I saw circulating of Kobe standing on it. and like we don't get that.
Yeah.
It did feel like there was something missing. Like it just wasn't as. The presentation left a little to be desired. I'll speak for CBS. We'll have a CBS doubleheader on February whatever. But by the time you get to the Final Four, it's obviously, it looks different, feels different, everything.
College sports does pageantry in such an effective way. The Super Bowl does pageantry. I feel like the World Series, even with baseball dying in this country to a certain degree, does pageantry well. And the NBA Finals, as they are right now, don't. And I was listening to you yesterday say how like the Stanley Cup Final snuck up on you. Right? Like you didn't really know that we were in the finals and that it was going to be a rematch between the Oilers and the Panthers.
It's just off
and
my
everything.
radar. I say that embarrassingly. Like that's probably not something I should say out loud as somebody who has this job.
Who's on but point being, there are a lot of people who don't follow hockey. There are a lot of people who don't follow basketball. Right. And guess what? If they were just skimming through their channels last night and that game pops up, there's nothing that pulls you in as a viewer where it's basically screaming in your face, hey, this is a special event. Hey, this really means something. You should stop here. And like I said on my show, we're a dumb society. Like you really got to make things obvious.
Yes.
And it's not obvious enough. It feels incredibly stagnant.
Yes.
And the stakes don't feel high. And then you get a game like that. And it's like, oh, great. Well, the game saved what really was just kind of a ho-hum broadcast.
And I don't want to say necessarily, I don't need all that talking because I'm a talker. Like that's my job to talk and leading into things, right? So I don't want to say I don't need Stephen A. Smith talking that much because at some point somebody might say, hey, we don't need you talking that much.
People talking more.
Perhaps that. This is what I mean. Pre-game, you want to make this thing feel big? Give me less of the analysis and show me the starting lineups. Show me the lights going down in the Paycom Center. Show me the MVP getting introduced to the crowd. Like that. NBC has acknowledged already they're going to bring that back next year when they do NBA telecast.
The live player
introductions. Yep. That makes it feel bigger and for NBA purposes, and this time different. It would have felt different. It would have felt like, oh, this is a big
TV.
deal.
Like people forget, this is all a TV show. You were trying to create a good TV show that makes new people who previously did not watch that TV show be interested in coming back to it.
So I don't know why ABC missed the mark on this, because you can bang on Local 24 as being understaffed and under whatever.
I'll come to their defense.
But you can this is ABC. Like this is supposed to be the best of the best, and they just and I'm sure they are, but they just missed something. There was something missing. I don't know how to pinpoint it exactly.
They didn't have the right meeting.
Right. They didn't have the right meeting.
It's just so weird because of the precipice of this. Like, they know how important. So many people won't shut up about the broadcast presentation of the sport. I just couldn't believe that all of that occurred. And yet, here it is. Just another court. But it was a hell of a game.
Great game.
And that I'm grateful for.
Fun game. Fun. I always said, since we got this, that I thought it would be a fun series as long as it didn't get lopsided. And what I meant by that is that this Thunder team is capable, according to all the numbers, all the data, this Thunder team is capable of just running off on them. And it looked like they were doing it for much of the game last night. I think I tweeted this at some point.
Were you one of the people?
It's hard to remember what you tweet sometimes. But
let's pull up the receipts.
I think something along the lines of, it never felt like they were winning that game until there was less than a second remaining in the game.
Yeah.
And it is true, they never led until there was 0.3 left.
I would say it never felt like they were winning the game until it went to zeros. I was still convinced that the Thunder were going to somehow
at
throw
point
a
3,
lob,
I was like, they're not. I was at point 3, I thought the Pacers were winning. But if you would have literally asked me at the 0-0 mark of every minute in that game last night, all right, GP, we're down to 1 minute in. Who's winning? I'd say Thunder. 2 minutes in. Who's winning? Thunder. 3 minutes in. Thunder. 33 minutes in. Thunder. 39 minutes in. Thunder. There's not a minute in the game where if you would have asked me the question, I would have said Pacers win until literally there was 0.3 seconds left in the game.
I have a text from my mom at 9:53. Oh, well, looks like it was a false alarm of excitement. Dang. I have a text from my mom at 9:54. At least they're looking better. I have a text from my mom at 10:05. So this is in real time, not game time. A difference of 9 minutes. 11 minutes. God, math will never fail. I just jumped up and pulled my cord out of the wall. And that's after the Haliburton.
It was a moment.
That's why we love sports.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. I love being rewarded for staying up for the end of a game in a situation like that.
Well, I'm glad you got to enjoy that basketball game.
Thank you.
Now I want you to
go walk some dogs. I'm on triple duty right now, Gary. I got my dogs to walk, I got a cat to feed, and I got a dog to go back and house sit.
All right. Well,
Nice.
I got one question for you.
Is my car still here?
How on earth do you think you're going to walk all those dogs in this smog?
You know what? God grants her toughest battles to her strongest soldiers. And I think I'll make it through the smog.
Look at that smog.
Oh, look, I can barely see FedEx Forum through the camera.
I don't know why I didn't open yesterday's show about the smog problem in Memphis.
You know what? It actually did make me want to go and look if I was not.
I asked Bennett to send me stories every morning. I say, Bennett, I want you to be a part of the decision-making process. I asked Bennett to send me stories every morning. Bennett, answer this on. Have you ever sent me a smog story?
I don't think so. But now that I think about it.
We have to find stuff to talk about every day, Bennett. You can't send me a smog story one time?
I lived in Los Angeles, city of smog. I've been around the smog block. We've got pretty good air. Let's keep it that way.
I cannot believe there was somebody sitting in a meeting.
I know.
Who said the main issue facing the city of Memphis right now is the smog.
This is what the most people need to find out.
We should lead the A block tonight after game 1 of the NBA Finals on smog. Even if you want to be negative and make me feel like hell, like give me a murder story or a fire story or a carjacking story, or give me one of them stories about a 3-year-old accidentally shooting himself in the head. We get one of those all the time. You know, at least we got. You
want to know what on the flip side, my 24 would have led with the Jalen Wells at the whatever kids camp he showed up at yesterday. That would have been. I swear to God, that would have led that show coming right out of that game.
It would have made more sense than what they did. The smog story, like of all the problems in Memphis, because we have real problems.
Yeah.
Smog is so far way down the list of the things I'm worried about as I express concern about the future of our city.
Story, just not the lead. My final for my I don't know what it would have been called, like my top level broadcast class was you had 15 stories that were given to you by the teacher and you had to order them in the rundown.
Smog would have been last.
Smog would have at least been in the B block. Like at least. It might have been, honestly, it probably would have been the story coming out of the C block weather hit, where you usually have one news story because it's kind of weather adjacent. These are the things that you have to think about.
Whether anybody's right or
wrong. It is subjective, but you have to
wrong.
make a case for it, and I would love to hear the case for the smog.
I would dare somebody to try to make an actual case for the smog story
out.
in my presence.
But isn't that true? Like, wouldn't people actually genuinely have loved hearing from Jalen Wells?
Yeah,
being out and about at a kid's camp? That's a really positive
thing. That makes a million. And if you can't be positive, because it's local news, can't be positive. Right. If you can't be positive, then be negative about something that's really a problem.
It's really informative
that
about
is really
a negative
problem.
Case. Yeah.
Don't try to make me scared of smog. Okay. Don't try to make me afraid of smog after game
smog
one of the
is a
NBA
serious
Finals.
Thing. Air quality is important.
How many cars do you have right now?
2. I'm no Taylor Swift. I'm not on my private jet. I don't have a PJ.
Here's what I'm trying to tell you. Smog didn't take your car.
Oh, that's the route you're going. We have 2 because we have a rental. I'm sorry. Actually, we technically have 3 because Chris's original car is in the shop.
If you get shot walking dogs.
Stop trying to... God.
Smog will not pull the trigger. Okay?
Trying to kill me walking dogs.
If a historic temple burns down, it will not be because of smog.
No.
If somebody gets shot on the interstate today, smog will not be...
What if the criminal blamed smog?
That's what I would
What if the shooter was like, God, I woke up, the smog made me so mad, I just went on the interstate and went crazy.
Green lighting a smog story for the A block
Leave him alone.
Is absolute insanity.
Leave him alone.
All right, you go battle this smog on your own.
I'm here to fight for local news. I'm here to fight for the city of Memphis, and I'm here to walk your dogs.
You're going to be out there laying on the sidewalk, suffocated to death, can't even breathe because of all this smog.
Support your local news.
And it'll be like, you know what? I guess the joke's on me because Local 24 tried to tell me about the smog problem, and I told Jess it's not a big deal, and now she's out there dead at the corner of Poplar and Highland. We'll just lay it on the sidewalk, can't breathe.
I had multiple people come up to me after our little conversation last week who said that they thought it was a really funny image. And I'm like, thanks for thinking it's a funny image of me bleeding out in front of 201 Poplar saying,
it was a funny story.
Crime is everywhere.
It's a funny story. I don't know if it's a funny image, but it's a funny story. It'd make for a good SNL skit.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm just saying,
unfortunately for all of us, SNL's off season. Really could have used it.
We have real problems in this city.
Yeah.
I would prefer not to know about any of them immediately after Tyrese Haliburton hit that shot. But if we have to know about some of them or even one of them, let's make it one that is really an issue. Don't try to scare me about Smog. I can still look out this window and see like the Chiska sign.
According to Jaquat in the chat, Memphis has received an F grade from the American Lung Association for ozone pollution, which if I had listened to the story, this is on me, if I'd listened to the story last night instead of Chris and I immediately going into a conversation of why on earth are you doing a Smog story coming out of that game, I probably would have learned. So that's on me. That's on media literacy. I should have taken the opportunity to know why that was such a...
I want to be clear on this.
Mm-hmm.
I am not denying that there might be or even is a smog problem in Memphis. I'm not here to deny that. I'm just telling you, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And you're telling stories and nobody cares. Nobody cares about the smog problem. This is the thing, like in politics, we're going to have to figure out.
Yes, I know. Oh, God, don't even get me started.
I mean, people like me and you, what we're going to have to figure out on this. Our people are going to have to figure out is you got to stop having conversations and picking fights or taking fights, fighting about stuff the overwhelming majority of Americans do not care about. Yeah. And smog in Memphis is on that list.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
I think I've said that now 70 times,
Walk
so let's
some
move
dogs
on.
in the smog.
All right, good
Goodbye.
luck.
Thank you.
I know this is going to be challenging. I watched local news last night. I know how
Have a great
challenging
day.
this is going to be for you, but I wish you luck. And if you survive it, I'll see you on Monday.
Okay.
All right? Fingers
crossed.
Fingers crossed. That's Jessica Benson, host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, weekdays, 8 a.m., Grind City Media. When we come back, Kevin Durant and the New York Knicks had mutual interest in each other at the trade deadline, according to ESPN's Shams Charania. Could they have mutual interest again this offseason? Well, that's Bennett what he thinks. We'll do that next. GP Show from the Bill Ford Tough Studio.
Last week, I gave you the update about my son Kevin in terms of having to choose. Has he made the decision? He picked Tennessee State.
Oh, my heart, Mike.
The next day, we got an email from the director of Tuskegee's program laying out everything that they were going to be doing, and he flip-flopped.
There we go.
He flip-flopped. So he's going to be going down to Tuskegee.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Claw Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Claw Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies on home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today. The Grizzlies, grannies, and grandpas have the right moves and are currently looking for new members to join their team for the upcoming season. These soulful seniors are a fan favorite group throughout Grizz Nation. You do not have to be a grandparent, but you must be at least 50 years old with personality, rhythm, and passion for performing. If that sounds like you, then we want to see you on Sunday, June 29th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jarrett with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger buzzer beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and OrthoSouth understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because OrthoSouth welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and OrthoSouth will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's OrthoSouth at orthosouth.org now. I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
According to Shams Charania, Kevin Durant and the New York Knicks did have mutual interest at the trade deadline. As you know, no deal was consummated, but there is now speculation that as Phoenix embarks on this offseason and moves in a direction to trade Kevin Durant somewhere, that the New York Knicks in Midtown Manhattan could be the future home of KD. Can you dig it, Bennett? Can you dig KD as a Knick?
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. That would be really cool. Actually.
I think it would be awesome.
That would be fun. But I'm not sure.
What are you not sure about?
How that's going to work out.
It's probably got to involve a Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Phoenix, though, what?
You get younger.
Yeah, you get younger.
You get Devin Booker's former college teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. You get younger.
Okay.
You get younger.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
This
I don't know
is
if they're going
one
to be able to figure that one out, but it would be awesome.
Obviously, a lot of stuff, moving parts, and
yeah.
I'm not going to bore you with contract matches and all that,
yeah.
but like the centerpieces would probably have to be Kevin Durant and Karl Anthony Towns.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one where if I'm Phoenix, you just got to get out of the Kevin Durant business.
I guess that's true.
And can you do better than Karl Anthony Towns if you're just trying to get out of the Kevin Durant business? Okay? And if you're the Knicks, I don't think you got to move off Karl Anthony Towns, although he's a pretty polarizing player in that city. One day he's amazing, and another day
I know
people are calling
they're
him
very wishy-washy on him.
They love him one day, and then they call him the B word the next,
mm-hmm.
right? So it feels like this is the deal that we'll figure out the details, but if I'm the Knicks, would I rather have Kevin Durant for next season than Karl Anthony Towns? Maybe. And if I'm the Suns and I'm already getting out of the Kevin Durant business, can I do better than Karl Anthony Towns? Unless I want to just do total rebuild, which they don't seem interested in doing. Maybe not. Maybe this might be one of those that just makes sense for both sides.
Maybe so.
And Kevin Durant as a Knick in a year where the Celtics should slip because Tatum's not going to play, or at least not going to play till way late. The Bucks are without Damian Lillard, and who knows what happens with Giannis. Kevin Durant being the missing piece for like a year, like let's do it right now
mm-hmm.
to try to take advantage of what seems like could be a wide open East. Obviously, let's pay respect to the Pacers, but what could be a wide open East, and you go try to do it, punch your way through with, as we now know, a new coach, sure, but also a Kevin Durant. I like it. I don't know that it'll work perfectly. How about this? If you told me I could snap my fingers and there is a world where Kevin Durant, this all-time great, leads the New York Knicks to the NBA title, I like that.
I think most Knicks fans would want that.
I think
most Knicks fans would say
that is
yes,
a great
if you can move Cat
NBA
for
story.
KD, then
because
we'll
I
do it.
hate the way KD's career has unfolded, and he seems to have accepted like what happened. But he's this thing in Oklahoma City, and it's great. MVP, goes to the finals. But then people keep banging on him about, you ain't won a title. When you going to win a title? He's like, all right, I'll go win titles. This is easy. I'll go to Golden State. Wins a couple of titles. Mm-hmm. Then realizes pretty quickly, oh, this ain't doing what I thought it was going to do. He thought it was as simple as, right now I don't have a ring. If I do this, I'll get a ring. And then nobody will be able to say anything to me. And you know what they say to him? Go win a real ring, fraud. That's Steph's rings. That's the only way you got rings. They won a championship.
Even though he was like the best player, but
he was. Two finals MVPs. Right. He was. But like, this is what people say.
Yeah.
They won before you. They won after you. Sure, they won with you, but they didn't win because of you. They won with you, but not because of you. That's not a real ring. That's what they say to him now. So he realizes, okay, that didn't work. I thought, you guys just told me I needed to get a ring, so I got that. Now you're telling me I need to get a different ring? All right, fine. We'll go to Brooklyn. Go to Brooklyn and get a ring. And then that was a disaster. Fine. Go to Phoenix, get a ring.
That didn't work.
He's just been in messy situations ever since leaving Golden State. And now he's old. Like, the end is closer than the beginning, obviously. The end is even closer than like the best years, probably. But he can still play at a high level. I always wanted, when he left Oklahoma City or Golden State, either time, go to New York, but not to Brooklyn, to Midtown. And be the face of the Knicks. You win a championship in Brooklyn, great, but no, like, that doesn't mean anything to people in New York. It just doesn't. The difference between the Knicks and the Nets in New York City, even though they are both technically in New York City, because Brooklyn is New York City, just like Manhattan's New York City, they're both New York City, not the same. One matters immensely in New York City, and the other one is just the thing that used to be in New Jersey, and Jay-Z tried to make cool, but it never really caught on. He could have won a title in Brooklyn. They would have put a banner up. It'd go on his Wikipedia page. It would not have resonated in New York City the way winning a title with the Knicks would resonate. You just saw what that city looked like. Now, throw KD right in the middle of that. One of the faces and real stars and legends of the sport. I hope it happens. I hope Kevin Durant.
I do too. That'd be awesome.
I want Kevin Durant to be a New York Knick. Hopefully the Suns and the Knicks can get some sort of deal done.
Number 2.
Tiger basketball scheduling news. Penny Hardaway has agreed to a home-and-home series with Utah State that's going to start at Utah State this upcoming season, specifically on February 14th, Valentine's Day in Logan, Utah. How you feel about that, Bennett?
I love it. I love it. Shout out to that athletic department. Shout out to Penny Hardaway. Shout out to Ed Scott. You know, I've been screaming for this kind of game that is against a high. They've been in the NCAA tournament the past 3 years. Utah State has, so they're clearly a good program right now. I don't know what happened, in the transfer portal, whatever, but they're performing at a high level right now.
They've got a really good coach.
But even more importantly is scheduling that on paper high level opponent during conference play, because you don't have any conference opponents that are going to help your resume if you're the Tigers. This is exactly what John Calipari did back in the day in CUSA with Gonzaga, and it worked out really well for them as far as their seeding later on in the NCAA tournament. And this, in theory, is what they're trying to do here. It's such good scheduling.
I understand if you're a Memphis fan and you're hearing about Kansas and UConn just scheduled a home and home.
Yeah.
And Duke and Arizona got a home and home. You look up and you go, oh, all right, why are we doing Utah State home and homes? Right? I realize that might be your initial reaction. But Utah State is a consistently good Mountain West basketball program. They are one of the programs set to join the new Pac-12. It shouldn't be lost on you that Memphis scheduled this game in February to give it a nice, attractive game once the conference schedule gets going. Could have just joined the conference with these guys. They wanted you. You get to play them twice.
Well.
And I know Utah State doesn't resonate with Memphis fans. You might not have ever laid your eyes on a Utah State game, but when you're bored, go into YouTube and just Utah State home games. I sit in studio on these Mountain West games, CBS Sports Network. Like, I've watched a lot of Utah State games. That building, if you didn't know anything about anything, and I just said, here's a game on, you'd be like, is that the best college basketball environment in the country? You might not say that, but it would look like the Kennel at Gonzaga. It would look like Cameron Indoor at Duke. It is an incredible basketball environment. They make it feel like it matters. And so if you're Penny, I like this just as much as you like it. You might not be scheduling a name that resonates with your fans, but you are scheduling a competent basketball program that has been consistently good. Mm-hmm. And you are taking your players to a place where when they walk into the building, they're going to know this matters. They're going to feel it. It's going to look and feel like a real basketball game. And unfortunately, in the American Athletic Conference, the Tigers just don't get that feeling very often. You don't walk into San Antonio and it feels like a big basketball game. You don't walk into Charlotte and it feels like a big basketball game. You don't walk into USF and it feels like a big basketball game. You will walk into Utah State and you'll go, whoa, boy, this is it. This is a real game. There's people here and they're fired up and they're excited for us. I love this.
Yeah.
So it'll just be a random Saturday night non-league game in February that looks and feels different than most other games Memphis is going to play from January on. And that's unfortunate, but one's better than zero.
Yes.
It's not up to Penny Hardaway to get Memphis out of this conference. That decision is above his. It's just made up here.
Yep.
He doesn't have total control over that, but he should have total control over his schedule, or at least the most control over his schedule. And so you do the best you can, all things considered. And playing a game like this in February is, I think, a step in the right direction.
Yes.
I like this. You see look at that. That's Utah State.
That's awesome.
Okay?
Let's go.
Go do Google searches on American Athletic Conference basketball arenas. You'll see FedEx Forum look like that sometimes. You'll see maybe UAB look like that every once in a while. You don't get that in the American Athletic Conference consistently. You will get it way more times in the new Pac-12 than you would have gotten. If you go to the new Pac-12, you'll get it way more times than you would get in the AAC. But at least for now, that ship has sailed. So you do the best you can in scheduling a future Pac-12 member in a home-and-home series starting at Utah State. I hope you have great Valentine's Day plans, but if you turn that game on, you'll see that it looks like a real college basketball game. And unfortunately, Memphis won't play a lot of those in January and February and early March. But with this non-league game, they will get at least one.
Number 3.
Aaron Rodgers has informed the Pittsburgh Steelers that he will sign a 1-year deal to be the starting quarterback for one of the NFL's most storied franchises. Prediction. This goes well, it doesn't.
I think it probably goes better than the Jets situation if he has anything left in the tank. I just think the Jets are a disastrous organization.
Well, he got 2 years there. He got hurt, and then the next one was just what they weren't good.
I just think that's just a disastrous organization. They haven't been to the playoffs in forever, and they're.
But he hasn't been good in at least 4 years. That's
true. Mike Tomlin is the best at making something out of what looks like not much. He's the best at getting the most out of his team. So I'm not I thought it was always going to go this way because again, this whole offseason I've been like, they're really going to go into the season when Mason Rudolph is their starting quarterback? That's crazy. And so I always thought it was going to go this way. I mean, dude, you're in a division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson now, so it's going to be an uphill climb regardless. But hey, I'm sure they'll float. I'm sure they'll be hanging around like 8-8, something like that. It's what they usually do.
I would predict it doesn't go well. Mm-hmm. Not because he says wild things on Pat McAfee show. I don't care, but because he's an old man relative to the job, and he has not been good in a long time. Like, imagine this. If you were getting ready to watch LeBron James next season, and LeBron James had not been good for 4 straight years, at least 3 straight years. Mm. And then you said, and then I asked you, and LeBron James was now joining the Timberwolves. And I said, how do you think it's going to go? And I said, I think it could go well. Even though he hasn't played well in 3 or 4 years? Well, yeah. Like, you don't typically get better the older you get.
Right.
I mean, you can get better from 23 to 24, 24 to 25, 25 to 26, 26 to 27, so on and so forth. But once you get up 38 to 39 to 40 to 41 to 42, you don't tend to get better then. And for this to work, he has to be better than he's been in years. And that's not the way these things usually go.
Right.
I'm not ruling it out. You know, I've been surprised by sports as recently as last night. I'm not ruling it out. But just asking someone his age with a mediocre supporting cast to go be what we would label successful in this league at this point in his life seems like a unlikely scenario. But I'll be paying attention.
I'll be paying attention.
I'll be paying attention.
Yeah. Number 4.
All right, I'm all in on college softball. I'm all in on.
You really have been into this week.
Oh, we got to. First off, let's skip to the end. We got a game 3 deciding game. We're going to decide a national championship tonight.
Yes.
You ready? In-state rivals? Texas Tech? You don't like the in-state rivals?
I guess so.
Do you see our girl?
Could get into
Do you see our girl Nigel Kennedy last night?
What'd she do?
Oh, just shut everything down when it was time to shut everything down.
Yeah.
She came through the way you're supposed to come through when you're the highest paid softball player in the world.
Oh, is she?
Do you know her story?
No.
Okay. I don't want to step on Jess. Jess got here before I got here.
Okay.
Jess got to Nigel Kennedy before I got to Nigel Kennedy, right? I feel like this is Jess's story. But I can repeat some of it to you. So she goes to Stanford out of high school. And she's like the best thing in the world. She leads Stanford to back-to-back College World Series appearances. I think they finished in the top 4 both years. She's a first-team All-American. And Texas Tech just decides we wouldn't mind having her. And this program that had never even won a Big 12 regular season championship in softball went and made her an offer. She had an agent because all student athletes with any value should have an agent these days, including you, PJ Haggerty. So she had an agent. Do you know what the agent was asking for? Like when she was like, okay, we might get in the transfer portal. Here's what we're looking for. Do you know what the number was?
I'll say $800,000.
Reportedly, the agent was looking for offers in the $400,000 range.
Okay, yeah,
which
it is college
you'd have
softball.
no context for what softball players make, nor should you.
Right.
I don't know any of this either. I just watched a TikTok on it. Okay. So the agent's like, I think we can get $400,000. Well, these Texas Tech boosters come in and say, we'll make it $1 million. They bought her for $1 million.
That's insane.
All right.
That's insane.
Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, kudos. That's amazing. But like, wow.
Patrick Mahomes.
That P5 money, dude. Good Lord.
Patrick Mahomes was involved in the recruiting process. She's from Kansas. Mahomes is a star of the Kansas City Chiefs who went to Texas Tech.
Okay.
So they played that card, but the main card they played was $1 million. It's like a little more than $1 million. And she transferred from Stanford to Texas Tech, which, like, you have to make it the money so lopsided because what you were really giving up there, like if this were my son, we would make the move too. I'm not getting it twisted up, but you have to consider we're giving up a Stanford degree to do this.
Yeah,
like that's one of the best things you can have, best degrees you can have in this country, is a bachelor's degree from Stanford. Like that's crazy. You're giving that up. That's worth something. So the number's got to get lopsided. But for $1 million, you're like, all right, well, we'll make. I'll transfer back to Stanford if I have to, but I'm taking the $1 million. So she takes the $1 million. They win the Big 12 title, and now she's in this best of 3 series. And we talked about it yesterday, game 1, where she was trying to intentionally walk the Texas hitter and left it out over the plate, got smacked, lost the game. And so how's she going to bounce back from that? Bounced back last night brilliantly, got the win. And once again, after last night, said, game 1's on me. I still take responsibility for that. I felt like I let my team down. Bounce back tonight, get this win. And now she'll be back on the mound tonight to try to win a national championship at this school that had never even won a conference championship before she arrived. And the only reason she's there is because of money. And assuming she throws every pitch tonight and they win, she will go down as history as the first person to ever throw every pitch in a College World Series.
I was going to say, like, that cannot be common at all.
What I understand about that on a very basic level is that this is a natural motion, whereas this isn't. So if you're wondering why pitchers in baseball can't do this, it's because it's quite literally on some level, you cannot do this every day. But you can do this every day.
Okay.
And so she's doing it every day, and she does it better than anybody. But I love this story because
all right, I'm in.
I love this story because
I'm rooting for her because she took the L. Like I want her to bounce back.
Love all of it. I love watching people bounce back. I love the way she took responsibility and like owned it after she clearly messed up in game 1, bounced back and got game 2. I didn't even know this woman existed a week ago. I'm incredibly impressed by what I've seen. And I just love the story because it illustrates something that I had said a million times just in a slightly different way. As I would try to explain how NIL would work to some people, because the very surface level analysis of it was, it's just going to be the rich get richer. And Kentucky and Kansas and Duke are going to buy all the basketball players. And Alabama and Ohio State are going to buy all the football players. And that's the way NIL will work. And what I would always say is, on some level, sure, Kentucky's going to have a lot of money, and Duke's going to spend a lot of money, and Ohio State's going to spend a lot of money, and we know that. Like Duke's spending like $20 million on a basketball roster. Kentucky's up there as well. In Ohio State, we know they had the most expensive football roster in the history of the sport last season. They won a national championship. Yeah, sure, on some level that's going to be true. But the example I would always say, and I just sort of pulled it out of air. It didn't mean anything. It was just like to make a point. I said, but do you understand if there is a wealthy person in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, who just decides they want to have the greatest women's soccer team in the country, they could throw like $5 million at it, much less than that probably, and go buy all the best soccer players in the country to come to Southern Miss. And like if they wanted to just throw money at it, they could create the best women's soccer team in the sport just by throwing money at it. So yeah, the Kentuckys and the Dukes have advantages, but anybody with rich people connected to them can close that gap. And we're seeing this in sports all over. BYU signed the number 1 basketball prospect in America. This dude's going to church in Utah. He does not practice what it is they preach. But they gave him so much money, he was like, I'm going to BYU. And now BYU is going to be a preseason top 5 team. How does BYU become a preseason top 5 team in men's basketball? Money. They just threw money at it. So what I always say is this won't just work in the big sports. It'll work in any sport. If I won Powerball and decided I wanted to turn Memphis baseball with my winnings, like I win Powerball, and they say, GP, lump sum, $140 million. What are you going to do with this money? I say, you know what? I really enjoyed watching college baseball recently. I'm going to try to turn Memphis baseball into something that can compete with Ole Miss and Tennessee and everybody else. So just know I got $5 million to spend on a baseball team next year. Somebody give me a list of guys in the transfer portal we can go buy. Let's buy us a baseball team. Do you realize I could do that? I could turn Memphis baseball into a top 20 program literally on one off season just by throwing money at it. This is what can happen. And it's happening in women's softball of all places. Texas Tech went from a nothing program to one win away from a national championship because they got a rich couple who just decided we're going to throw millions of dollars at this thing. And they went out and got the best player in the country, best pitcher in the country, and now they're one win away from it. And I know some people might be like, I don't want them to win it because I don't like them winning it this way. I love them winning it this way. It just shows you what's possible. It encourages other people to do it because it's proof that it's attainable. And Texas Tech is doing this in everything. Remember, they had JT Toppin, second-team All-American, just like Memphis had P.J. Haggerty, second-team All-American. P.J. Haggerty goes through the draft process, then commits to Kansas State. You know what JT Toppin did? Just came back to Texas Tech. You want to know why? They gave him $4 million. They said, here's $4 million. You can take it right now, but you can't enter the draft and you can't enter the transfer portal. Okay, sure. They're just throwing money everywhere. Well, guess what?
You got that oil money.
Well, they got a preseason top 5 basketball team, or at least top 10 basketball team. And now they got a women's softball team. You could do this any sport. Any sport where you got rich people who want to make you great, they can. At least until the rules change. But with these rules, you got rich people who want to make you great in any sport. It is possible. And Texas Tech softball is the greatest example going right now.
Number 5.
Did you hear about this Jeff Garlin story?
No.
Okay. Jeff Garlin, of course, I think you could reasonably call him among the co-stars of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
He was on every season and a big part of that show. Hilarious guy. But more than being an actor, even though he has been an actor on like network shows and the whole deal, at his core, he's a stand-up comedian. So he takes a gig. I think it was this past weekend, certainly recently. Story just broke yesterday. I say story broke like it's a big deal. It's just a little story that I find interesting. He accepts a gig. There's this like little club-like place where they have some nights a bingo night, some nights a karaoke night, some nights a comedy night.
Okay.
But it's like super rich people. It's like in the rich parts of the LA community.
All right.
So they decided to hire Jeff Garlin to do like a little, stand-up bit. He's going to headline a little stand-up show at the little club. And they agreed to pay him $800. Okay? And knowing the way these things work, it's probably like $800, show up, do 20 minutes. We just need your name to get people there. You'll close the thing, do 20 minutes. We'll hand you $800. Now, the first question people are asking is like, why is Jeff Garlin doing stand-up for $800? Do you have an issue with that?
I don't, but
I mean, I don't know as much.
That seems cheap.
Like, why are you doing this for $800? You're
even a TV star.
You've been a TV star for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you really need just $800? But I'm not offended by that because
hustle. Yeah, go get your money.
At some point,
I would just demand more if I was him. But
like at some point, it's like, all right, I don't really need the $800, but who am I to just not take $800 for 20 minutes of work? I got to drive 20 minutes. I got to get in my car, drive 20 minutes, talk for 20 minutes, and then they just hand me $800.
Yeah.
Who am I to turn that down? Do I need it? No. But like, man, if you'd have told me when I was 12 I'd ever get to a point where somebody asks me to talk for 20 minutes and give me $800 and I'd tell you I'm going to turn that down, that's just a weird play. I'm just going to take the $800 and I'll hand it over to somebody who needs it more than me. But
fair enough.
I'm not going to turn down. Most Americans would kill to work 20 minutes and get $800. Who am I to say no to that? Yeah, he's Jeff Garlin, but he's not Beyonce, right? So I kind of understand doing it. And also maybe it's like somebody at the club who you're friends with asked you, and they're like, we can't pay your normal rate, but we could give you $800. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. If it's $800 cash, I'll do it. So this becomes the sticking point. He agrees to do it for $800 cash, okay? Hey, we booked Jeff Garlin. He's going to close our comedy night, $800 cash. Deal. He shows up, and they're like, Jeff, great to see you, blah, 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 blah. Here's the check, $800. He says, you said this was $800 cash. Well, they're like, yeah, but like, we don't have the cash, but like, here's the check. But you said it was cash. I don't want a check. You said it was $800 cash. Okay, but like, I guess what I meant was we're going to pay $800. Maybe I shouldn't have used the word cash, but like, here's the check. Just go cash it. No, I'm out.
Ooh.
And he just left. And he didn't do the show, and everybody's disappointed.
Wow.
And now this is a big headline. What do you make of that?
I make of it... Why would the cash be more meaningful?
I actually have
who deals in a cash.
You're a cash man.
I'm a cash.
I'm not. I hate cash.
I mean, you're
like, I genuinely have no cash right now.
I mean,
if you needed a dollar bill right now, I cannot hand you one.
What I would say is this is like we already established. This is not that big of a thing for him, probably, and because he's doing this, for just $800 cash. Like, you're making him have to go a step further just to get the $800.
There's some of that.
Like, I think it's... I actually, for some reason, I think in this situation, I wouldn't have done that, but I kind of might understand where he's coming from.
So you start reading, there's like anonymous quotes from people close to Jeff Garlin, and you know what they tell you?
What?
He gets caught up on stuff like this.
Uh-huh.
Like,
because he's had issues before on TV sets.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets caught up on little things like this that you and I can say don't matter, but they matter immensely to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you've got it exactly right. he doesn't really want to do this. And as somebody who accepts jobs sometimes like this, but like sometimes a radio station will be like, hey, if you could come on every Thursday for 20 minutes in March, we'll pay you X amount of dollars per appearance. And sort of the same type of thing. Like, I don't need this money to pay my mortgage, but who am I to turn down X amount of dollars?
They want to pay me to come talk on their show. Like, of course.
Like, I grew up in Horn Lake, Mississippi.
Right.
Who am I to turn down this check to just answer questions on the radio? Like, of course I'll do it, because at some point people are going to stop asking. Mm-hmm. And I should try to... If you'd have told me when I was 18 years old, some radio station will pay you this amount of money just to answer questions from a host for 20 minutes once a week, I'd have been like, that's amazing. So I'm really just going to turn that down now? I'll do it. But then it's time to do it. You know what I am every time? I wish I didn't have to do this. Every time. It's like, no, I don't mean that. But it's like, it becomes I have had this moment before. This station has agreed to pay me X amount of dollars to do this hit today. I would pay them that money to not do it. As we're sitting here right now, and I've got 70 things going on, and I'm exhausted, and I need to do something else, and I would give the money back plus more money to not do this right now. I find myself in these situations all the time. You agree to it because you feel like, who am I not to agree to it? And then you go, but I don't really want to do this. So I promise you, he drove to that place going, I cannot believe. Like I have no idea what he's doing, but let's just imagine. He's at the golf course. He's played 18 holes. He's got him a post-round drink. And his buddies are like, hey, you want to try to get another 9 in? And he's like, it's something like this. No, I got to go. I'm committed to this thing. It's been on the schedule. What is it? I got to drive to the thing and do 20 minutes. And it's $800. And it's just like, I promise you there was a moment where he said, if I could give the $800 back or just not accept, just cancel this, I would do it. I don't want this. I don't want to do this in this moment. I agreed to it because, like, why not? But now I don't want to do it. So you're already agitated when you get there, and then what they told you it was going to be, it's not even that. And you're just like, all right, enough. I'm already mad. I'm already on edge. And now you told me $800 cash. It's not $800 cash. I'm out of here.
Also, if you're the place, and I'm sure there's like more to this whole story, but like y'all ain't got $800 cash laying around.
I know, that's the other thing.
Like come up with the money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like he was looking for a reason. He walked in already agitated, and then looked for a reason to get pissed, and then got pissed. And I do this sometimes in my own life. I struggle with. We've talked about this before. I have an idea of the way something's going to go, and if it doesn't go exactly that way, I get agitated, even if it's not that big of a deal. And so I actually find myself often, like I have to tell myself, to avoid the Jeff Garlin situation, I have to tell myself, this is not a big deal. This is not worth getting mad about. You are mad about it, and you are justified in feeling this way. But to take it anywhere other than your head, out into other people's worlds, is not going to do well for you. And I'm not saying I'm successful at this all the time. I'm not. But I talk to myself all the time about stuff like that. Don't get caught up on this. It's not that big of a deal. Is it the way it should be? No, but it's not that big of a deal. So don't get caught up on it. And I fail this test all the time. But I'm aware of, like I have these moments where I go, okay, I can either put my foot down and make a point, which is you said $800 cash and it's not $800 cash. Or I can reasonably be agitated just because somebody told me something, didn't do it the way they said. But also, big picture, understand, turning this into the fight is just not going to work well for anybody. And so I'll try not to turn this into a fight. Again, I am not try. And Jeff Garlin seems like he struggles with some of the same stuff. He had an idea in his head of what it was supposed to be. And even though it didn't really matter in any meaningful way, because it wasn't the way it was supposed to be, it triggered him into this other place. He was wrong. But I understand why what happened. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Probably should have just took the check, though, right?
I think so.
I mean, now we're at a point now you can just take the check, literally grab your phone, take a picture of the check, and deposit it into an account. Like it's not that big of a deal. He should have just taken the check.
Probably so.
But I understand why I understand why what happened. Be back with GP's Carryout.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seated this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneakfest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
You've seen the Grizzline jamming on the court and rocking out on Beale Street, and this is your chance to join the best drum line in the NBA. Grizzline entertains Grizz Nation at home games and events in the Mid-South through their impressive techniques and energetic shows. If you have experience in drumming and marching and love entertaining, Grizzline is the perfect opportunity for you to combine percussion and performance. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Sign up today by visiting grizzlies.com/auditions.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show presented by OrthoSouth. We're inside the Bill Ford Tough Studio. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but let me hit you with something we haven't talked about lately, just because I saw it referenced in the chat. The chat was wondering, like, I can't believe the Trump-Elon Musk stuff's not in the GP show today. Five more things.
Where was that?
Here's the honest to God truth. I assumed I would talk about it with Jessica, and we would all sit here and have fun with it.
I had it too. That's where I thought it was going to come
So I
up.
figured we would talk about it with Jessica, and then we wouldn't. Then we don't need it for five more things.
Yeah.
That's not the way five more things works, as you know.
Uh-huh.
And then we just ended up talking to Jessica about local news the whole time, so we never got to it. But, buddy, that was wild yesterday,
that
wasn't
was
it?
fun, man. I had a great time.
That was a wild situation.
That was a blast. I wonder how it affects our situation here on a local level.
Oh, I don't know.
You know, we got that big XAI thing here.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I can't imagine any of this is good long term.
Probably not.
It doesn't feel great.
It doesn't feel great.
Like if I just told you anything
yeah.
other than, if I just told you nothing more than this, the richest man in the world just accused the president of the United States of being on what we have for a while referred to as the Epstein list. So whatever that means, whatever it means to be on the quote Epstein list, the richest man in the world who was buddy-buddy with the president of the United States for months and undeniably helped him get elected, is now claiming that the president of the United States is on that list, whatever that means. And the president of the United States has responded in part by, on some level, threatening to take away all sorts of government contracts from the richest man in the world's company. And there are people who have the ear of the President of the United States who are now imploring him to deport the richest man in the world. And these guys were together in the Oval Office holding a press conference like a week earlier. This is bananas.
It's pretty wild. I know you got to be feeling nervous. Driving that Tesla around
I don't know who
Lake,
likes
Mississippi.
me. I don't know.
You better be careful, buddy.
I don't know who likes me and who
You might want
doesn't.
to cover up that decal.
I don't know who likes me and who doesn't anymore.
You're in trouble.
I feel like I'm in trouble. I don't know who likes me and who doesn't. I had a car, and I was happy with my car. And then a man was driving the wrong way on a one-way street, and he smacked me good. And they totaled out my car. And in the spirit of trying to, I was going to say, be a good human and preserve the environment, but really I just thought it was an awesome-looking car.
Spread of smog.
Stop the spread of smog, big problem here in Memphis. Really, I just thought it was a cool-looking car. So I said, I guess I didn't plan on buying a new car. I planned on just driving the car I had. But now, you know, they hit it and they totaled it. Now I got to get a new car. I guess I'll get a Tesla. And man, I got it. And every time I parked it, you know what somebody say? GP, that's an awesome car. That looks awesome. Did it really drive itself? Can I get in?
I got in it. It was cool.
See, Ben, it is cool. It is cool.
It is cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, the guy who makes Teslas is aligned with President Trump. Well, then
people start keying Teslas.
Now all my friends are thinking about keying my car.
Yeah.
All right. So I had to go through that. This is sincere. I went from I'd pull in somewhere and people would go, that's an amazing car. That's awesome. I mean, I could go to the dry cleaners and the little high school kids at the dry cleaners would be like, can we come out and see your car? Like I was just impressing everybody.
Yeah.
And then it went from I'd park and people could be like, that's interesting. You're one of them people, huh? I'm like, I just bought a car. Everything that's happening around me ain't got nothing to do with me. I just wanted a car with that screen like that could drive itself. That's all I was after. I wasn't trying to make any statement with it one way or the other. I just wanted a cool car. I got one. I work hard. I should have a cool car. So I've been going through the whole, now all my friends hate me. But now where am I? Who likes me now?
I think TBD, man.
I don't know who likes me now.
Just be careful.
The left used to like me. Then the left started blowing my cars up. Then the right liked me, but I don't know. Come from with that.
Stand now?
But I don't even know if the right. I don't know. I don't know that I have any.
Be careful driving through North Mississippi.
I don't know that I have any friends left. I don't know that I have any friends left.
Yeah.
It's tough out there.
That's a really tough spot. That's a really tough spot. I don't envy you.
It's tough. It is.
I don't envy you. But no, that was an amazing day on
What an
Twitter
amazing
yesterday.
day.
Like it was, I couldn't believe what I was watching unfold in real time.
What an amazing day.
Yeah, it was good. It was
You don't
good.
expect the president and the richest man in the world were best friends. At least they used each other to get what they were after. And now they're like...
I question if they're ever best friends.
No, one guy uses the other guy to get what he wants.
Yeah.
And the other guy...
I think one guy thought they were best friends.
Oh, yeah.
I think one guy genuinely got his feelings hurt.
Yeah, and that guy should have realized you can't be best friends with this guy. Because he will throw anybody away just the second he doesn't need them anymore. But you can read about that in the history books someday. Assuming we have history books someday. I'm not sure anymore.
What's today's biggest game?
I'm going to take you to Game 3, College World Series.
Okay.
Between Texas Tech and Texas. But I can't find a number on the game.
I was going to say, oh, wait, here, I can find it.
If you got it, give it to me. I was just going to put it minus 100. I was going to make it a pick 'em. You can go with whoever you want.
I can find you a line. Hang on.
Well, we're running out of time.
Okay, so it's, what's my girl's name, by the way, that's playing tonight?
Nigerie Kennedy.
I'm trying to find you a...
Bennett, can we just put it at a pick 'em? Minus 100, Texas Tech or Texas to win this national championship. Who you want?
I'll take Texas Tech.
That's where our heart's at. At our core, we're Red Raiders. At our core tonight, we're going to be Red Raiders. I didn't even know this woman existed a week ago. Now I'm rooting for her. I want nice things for her.
Here we go. I got you a line.
Okay.
I got your real line. It's Texas, the Longhorns, minus 130. The Red Raiders, minus 105.
Texas, minus 130. Red Raiders, minus 105.
So you're close.
I was
pretty close to pick 'em. Yeah.
Minus 105 is what you're taking.
Yep.
Texas Tech tonight.
Yeah, I'll take the Red Raiders. I like the story.
I like the story. If you decide you want to be great at something in this era of college athletics, Throw money at it, and you can be great. That's what they've done at Texas Tech. Tonight, if Bennett and I are right, and we, usually aren't.
I got win last night.
Congratulations. If Bennett and I are right, tonight, Texas Tech, the payoff comes. I'll be rooting for them.
What are we watching on TV?
I guess SmackDown, but
you would be ashamed.
You don't even know. You don't even know nothing.
I felt so bad because they were doing their wrestling podcast, the GCM wrestling podcast. Dustin was in here the other day, and we're just talking, and he's talking to me about what's going on, and I'm looking at him like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now.
See, I do know what's going on, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't even want to watch. I will miss this tonight and not even care. And I'll just go to CBSSports.com and I'll read the recap. And
these things come in cycles for me. I will be back. I'll be back.
I'll be back, but I don't remember becoming this disinterested since I've been back in wrestling for about 4 or 5 years now. Listen to me, I sound like an idiot. Mm-hmm. Since I've started watching wrestling again about 4 or 5 years ago, I don't remember ever becoming as disinterested as I am right now in this moment. Hopefully something changes, but I'm not feeling it right now.
I'm not feeling it either.
7 o'clock tonight, USA Network.
What's the best thing we've read?
Go over to CBSSports.com. Our NBA crew has incredible coverage from Game 1 of the NBA Finals last night. Pacers, incredible win in Oklahoma City. So if you haven't got enough Game 1 reaction, go to the homepage, CBSSports.com. They got great stuff for you there.
What's on tap next week?
Well, we'll continue following the NBA Finals. Game 2 scheduled for Sunday. So we'll be talking about that on Monday. Michael Eaves will join me in the second segment. Should be a fun show. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. We're going to meet back here on Monday at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.